Apple Vision Pro demos expand, iPads dominate, and the Beats Pill portable speaker. This is MacVoices. MacVoices is supported by BetterHelp. Stop comparing and start focusing with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/MacVoices today and get 10% off your first month. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, this is a pre-July 4th MacVoices Live. It's Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, whatever time that is, wherever you are. We are on YouTube at youtube.com/MacVoicesTV. That's where you should be to join our friends in the chat room because we have a number of them. More keep arriving. We also have at least one, two that I know of, panel members that are, for whatever reason, are unable to join us live tonight, but they're in the chat, so they'll be throwing some commentary. We have a number of things to get through tonight, all over the board. Some are Apple, some are not. So I'm just going to dive in. But interestingly, we had a number of things that just came up at the last minute as of today. So we'll be touching on some very current news as well as some of the other things that came up this week. One thing, Mark Fuccio could not be with us tonight, nor can he be in the chat unless he's hiding there and hasn't said hello. But he asked us to let you know that Apple closed stock price today at an all-time high again. They've now moved back into second most valuable company position as of today's valuations. Seems to be being driven by some analysts that are giving favorable reflections on Apple Intelligence and everything that's happening. So if you listen to us, even though we don't give financial advice, if you listened to us months ago, then you are turning handsprings because of the Apple stock price.
I am.
Yeah, just thought I'd mention it for those of you that did not. So that's the first thing. The second thing, let's see, is this the one? Yeah, I think this is the one that Ben Rathig brought to us. Ben's under a tornado warning, so he's hiding out in the chat. So I'm going to throw this into both chat rooms if I can find it both. This was breaking today, though, that Phil Schiller is going to join Apple or OpenAI board in an observer role following Apple's ChatGPT deal. And Ben's commentary in our Slack was, or was it Discord? Well, whatever, was that you had wondered how Microsoft felt about this.
I'm betting Microsoft is actually really happy. I'm not kidding.
Okay, Jeff, why?
I agree.
Oh, okay. Well, then we have two people that are saying
if Webb is backing me up, you know it's solid. All right.
Yeah.
So Microsoft is in a position right now, well, just in general, where they're having to dance around monopoly issues and who's controlling what in the market. Having Apple on the OpenAI board in any capacity at all helps Microsoft say, hey, look, we're not the bosses of everything. Even Apple is part of this. We don't control it. This is a really good look for Microsoft. Matter of fact, I'm betting Satya Nadella has already sent Phil Schiller a fruit basket.
Webb, I have to correct a mistake, but I'll let you add to Jeff's comments and then I'll do my correction.
Well, like you said, it's there. When you take a board seat, you also take on some personal liability unless there's some indemnification clause that the company puts on. But if you look at all the drama that OpenAI went through earlier this year with their president and CEO and pushing them out, and then they bring them back in, and then all the other board members left. Like I said, there's a personal liability that comes with a seat on the board. Even if you're an advisor, they call it an observer role, but even as an advisory board member, you still take on that personal responsibility. You may not be voting, but you do have inside knowledge of what's going on in there. So it's not all the all the glory and all the excitement that goes with it. There's it's something that when you're invited to join a board of directors of, especially a public corporation, you really got to take it seriously and make sure that you understand all the obligations that go with it. So that being said, I agree with Jeff that it does kind of help spread that liability around to a larger audience, if you will. So that's kind of my thinking on it. I think I think it's probably more than a fruit basket, but it can't be too much. I think you can go up to $250 without having to disclose. So,
all right, a fruit basket and
a pizza.
A pizza.
Okay, so the only thing that popped into my mind is something we discussed last week or the week before, and that is that allegedly, according to the reports, no money has changed hands between Apple and OpenAI for the inclusion of ChatGPT in the upcoming OSs. And so I just wonder if this was part of an agreement, and that's as far as I can go with it, because I'm sitting trying to figure out who it benefits. I think everything here benefits both parties.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it benefits both parties. I mean, you got to remember, OpenAI is pretty much open, and I think this is a good thing for Phil Schiller. He doesn't have a lot going on. I mean, Apple fellow, and has a little bit of time on his hands, and since Apple isn't have any money changing hands with this, from what they said, and Apple Intelligence, I mean, if anything, it's going to be a good communication between Apple and ChatGPT, OpenAI, to get this working. But also got to remember that OpenAI is not it's not on by default, and you can actually turn it on, turn it off. So it's not like it's required.
Okay, now I need to fix my mistake. I got so excited over the Apple stock price that I forgot to introduce anybody. So that is completely my fault. I was
wondering about that.
I just went for it, man. New all-time high. How can you not get excited over that? So let's go around the room. You've already heard some commentary from them, and then we'll pick it up from there. So making an extra special effort to join us tonight, Mr. David Ginsburg. David, great to see you. Great to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Always hard for me to miss this show, so I'm glad to be here. Thanks.
I really appreciate it. The man with the quilt, Mr. Webb Bixby, is here as well. Webb, good to have you.
Good to be here, Chuck. While you're doing that, I'm checking the Apple 10K to see if Schiller pulls a salary or not. So,
okay, that'd be interesting to know. Marty Jencius is here as well. Marty, good to have you.
Good to be back again, and a ritual for my Tuesday nights, coming in and doing this with lots of new friends. So it's great.
And he doesn't even have to wear a hood. Yeah, that's good. I'm not sure what that means, but it just sounded appropriate.
A hoodie.
A hoodie. Good. That's
Better.
good. Eric Bolden is here this time with something red in the green behind him. Eric, what do you have this week?
I thought I would try for the semi-dwarf sour cherry. So the two dangly bits right there is a ripe and an almost ripe cherry.
Okay. Very nice. Very nice. It almost looks Christmassy because of all the green.
Yeah.
It almost could be mistaken. I have my screen shrunk down a little bit for holly, but holly usually isn't quite that bright red. So I don't know what that meant, but it's free association night. Apparently, guys, I've already kicked into holiday mode. Speaking of holiday mode, Jeff Gamet is here. Jeff.
Chuck, I'm along for the ride. I can't wait to see where your free association takes us next. It's just like a roller coaster adventure of emotion.
I take my free thinking, free association thing from my association with you, Jeff, because that's what you do all the time is you free associate.
It's so cute how you mistake just random utterances with free association.
We'll see what happens for the rest of the evening.
I can't wait to see.
Last but not least, you hear a disembodied laugh. And unfortunately, it is disembodied on the YouTube feed and will be in our recording. Mark Fuccio is here, audio only. I think he might even be driving. Mark, glad to have you here, even if it's just driving or audio.
Welcome, Chuck. Yeah, that's good. I'm on Highway 280 for those who know the area, and just as you were introducing me, I just finished passing the patch of adjacent to the Apple Spaceship campus, and I'm passing De Anza Boulevard, where the Apple original, old campus is. So, it's good to be here, and I can listen in, and obviously you can hear me, but I have limited time, so I'll pass it back to you.
Well, we understand. We appreciate you being here, and for better or worse, I already threw out the note you sent earlier because we weren't sure you were going to make it about Apple's all-time stock price high and moving into the second position for most valuable companies. So, thank you for that contribution. I had not looked up the company valuation. I had looked up the stock price and was delighted. So, it's going to come back down at some point. But
absolutely, it's going to come back down. And it will go up, and it will fluctuate. So that's all you can say. But it's good that it's at new all-time highs instead of where it was earlier this year, 10 or 12% off the high. So things are going well as we go into second half of the year.
Definitely. So I'm going to apologize right up front because I'm going to bounce things around a little bit because we do have a lot of stuff to get to, and there's a lot of varied stuff. But I did think I'm throwing this one in for Eric and Marty because they are our resident Vision Pro people, that there will be new, in addition to the in-store Apple Vision Pro demos. Apparently, you will be able to now, one of the things you'll be able to do is see your own photos and panoramas as part of the demo. And I don't know, Marty, Eric, did you guys have a chance to look at this? And do you have any thoughts on this?
Oh, yeah. We chatted about it last night on Vision Profiles podcast. And because it just came out yesterday, the news about this. I think this is part of the introduction with the European market, trying to take a different tact at marketing this. I think it's great. The fact that you can see your own photos. They also have this going deep or getting deep, where you can spend more time with it than a half hour, and it allows you to kind of free range or free roam that. There might be some concerns that what it does is it allows people to see more problems or errors with it, and it scares them off of a purchase. The thing that we spoke about, and that for me would really be interesting, but I don't think they'll introduce it, is the idea not only to see your own photos, but to do the 3D spatial conversion that you can do on Vision 2.0 that's currently in beta, because that is that really drives home the product in terms of your pictures, your environment can now also have this kind of spatial look to it and spatial feel to it. But in order to do that, they would have to be running the 2.0 betas. And I don't see them doing that.
I have to ask Marty, how much time would, if I had 5 photos and assuming they were running the beta, how is it just a matter of saying do it and it does it, or does it take time to process?
It does it in probably 15 seconds. You get the opportunity to convert the image, and then the image gets converted. Press a button. Eric, you might confirm this too, that
it might even be faster than that. It didn't really seem like there's much of a wait. There's a little bit of animation. Poof, it's there. Some pictures work much better than other pictures. if you got a picture of like a daisy, that works really well. It just pops right out. Pictures of animals, they pop out pretty well.
And this is open for anybody, but I feel like this is something that I know when I went in, I would have loved to have had this option, and now I will be going back in to see, because now I have the opportunity to potentially dig around a little more. There were features that I would have, based on the original demo, that I would have liked to have had more time with. So this feels like it might be. I heard what you said, Eric, or I'm sorry, Marty, about, it also could point out some missing pieces, but I feel like this would be more likely to drive people to get one if they find out what they can do with it a little more than just, the demo we all did.
Yeah, I generally I'm on that side. Some of the critics have said, yeah, but what if they stumble into the problems that I've stumbled into? I think there's more wow than there is meh to the headset. So I think opening it up, making it more personalized in terms of the experience, can only benefit the marketing piece of it.
I think for most people, for that much money, there has to be, 2 or 3 or maybe 4 things that they really like. And the demo will let you get 1 or 2, but that, set of 4 things you can't get without a little more time or your own pictures.
Do you think that this will be adequate to give you that third and fourth one?
I think it's enough so that more people will be willing to spend the money and take a chance on the 2-week time frame to really be sure. That, and I liked that they seem to be switching over to the dual loop band in the demos as well. That single loop band, I at least didn't find it comfortable. Some people were really successful with that band, the single loop. So
that was an interesting decision, because I did not have a problem with the weight of it. They did have to adjust me to make it a little bit tighter, and once it was fine. But if that was an issue, I think they're having to make a choice between, are we potentially going to mess up people's hair, or are we going to give them a more comfortable demo? And they went one direction the first time. Now they're going to go second direction in the second time. So,
people who had problems with
I don't want them to mess up my hair.
Hey, Marty, what is this stuff called hair?
Oh, it's just something you might remember from your past.
Oh,
wow. I think for people who are on the fence, and I'm speaking to you, Chuck, and I'm speaking to you, David, and I'm speaking to you, Jeff, folks who have some sort of tech invested interest, being able to go free range for another half hour is what will push those folks who are already considering it, I think, over the edge to go ahead and do a purchase. The person who just wants to come in and try it on and see what it's like, the 30-minute demo is going to be fine for them. They might not have any intent of purchasing. They're just curious. So I think this is more for the tech committed or people who should be committed in terms of looking at this as a purchase option.
And I suspect a lot of this is also in response to the surveys they did of people who bought the Apple Vision and didn't return it. And as far as which band was more popular, or there were a bunch of comments about the single loop band was fine for 30 minutes, but was uncomfortable after that. Maybe they didn't have that response on the dual loop bands.
Yeah, good point. Brian Flanagan Arthurs couldn't join us tonight, but he's in the chat room. He said, I wonder if the Go Deeper session will be the same day as the regular demo or scheduled at a later date. He would want later, he said, to reflect on the aspects that would be useful to him, which is an interesting point that, if you haven't been through the demo yet and you're just going in as a first-time person, are you going to be able to absorb enough from the regular demo to say, yes, I want to go deeper? And how do they address the the scheduling situation. So yeah, a bunch of moving parts, and some of them we're obsessing over. But speaking of obsessing, Guy Serle joined us. So, there he is.
Thank you. Here I am. Sans hat and hair.
Yep. It's good to see you, Guy. Glad you made it.
Thank you.
You made it. Any thoughts from your standpoint on where this goes? The idea of going a little bit deeper and having an extended Apple Vision Pro demo.
I think that maybe someone's already said this, but if you go in, not even being on the fence, but knowing that you're going to buy it, having a longer demo isn't going to change your mind. And I would really question how many people, even with a longer demo, are going to go, oh, you know what? I have $3,500 burning a hole in my pocket. So let me go ahead and get this thing because I spent an extra 15, 30 minutes on it. I just don't see it happening. You're either going to go in and buy one or you're not.
Yeah, Joe, 3545U, after this I will refer to him as Joe, said it's hard to spend $3,500 on something that will be downsized and less expensive in 2 years.
Or less.
Yeah, fair point, Joe. Fair point. But, that's 2 years, and you could say the same thing about a lot of different products, not just Apple products.
Well, I mean, look at it like the difference between the first iPhone and the 3GS, which was more or less 2 to 3 years apart. And the 3GS, which was the first one that I got, was such a massive improvement over the original one that I'm glad I didn't get the first iPhone.
Okay. Again, it's what's important, most important to you. No question about it. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Do you look at your social media feed and wish all those exciting things people are doing were things you were doing? Looks like they have a great life, right? But you know those people, and you know they all have the same challenges we all have, sometimes even more. Therapy can help you focus on what you want, not what someone else thinks you should want. That's one of the first, most important steps to living your best life. Therapy can help you learn positive coping skills and set boundaries, empowering you to deal with the big and small things life throws at you. But therapy might be a challenge to fit into your busy schedule, or maybe you're just a little afraid. Fear not. BetterHelp is your answer. It is entirely online and designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist to get started. It is way past time to start taking care of yourself. Do it today. Stop compromising and start focusing with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/MacVoices today and get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/MacVoices. Thanks to BetterHelp for sponsoring MacVoices. Here's another piece of good news for all of us Apple fans, and that is that here's a big surprise. Apple dominates the iPad market, and it looks like Macs are also ramping up a little bit from a sales perspective. So this was, I believe, Canalys reported this. Contrasting that with what they claimed was a bleak first quarter, it's nice to see this.
Well, I think new iPads had a huge help in this, but they've been dominating it for quite a while. You're seeing a lot of enterprise companies are looking to buy iPads and incorporate them into their workflows because return on investment is really good, and it's also something that would make it easier in the long run to work with the product to get things with what they need. So I'm not surprised about the iPads. The Macs, I think that's great. It's good to see that it continues to sell and seeing more and more people getting Macs these days for sure.
Yeah. It's not like anything is going to ever, it's just not going to flip everybody. But I'm like you, David. It just slow but sure wins the race.
Yeah.
This one we've talked a little bit about before when it was sort of quasi-rumored or being not pre-announced, pre-promoted, I guess. But there's a new Beats speaker that has improved, quote unquote, improved sound, water resistance, and a lower price tag. Is this a big deal?
I don't think so, because we just funny you have this article we talked about last week on In Touch with iOS. It's probably a product that, because it's got the mid to low end cost and the mid to low end type of speaker, I guess it is a little bit of a big deal, but it also probably isn't, only based on the type of sound it has, the type of product it is. You're looking at probably the low end. Some of the other low end ones, like JBL, has an $80, $90 speaker. This is kind of very similar to it. But I don't. To me, I don't think it's a huge deal. It's not. It's probably not in our wheelhouse, because we appreciate more quality speakers. I think it's gonna be okay. But they brought it back. It was like 2012 was when the last time they released this product, or just right after Apple had bought Beats, and then they discontinued it. So they must have felt that it was worthwhile to bring it back and see how it hits the market.
Marty?
Yeah, I think it's not for my generation. It's probably for a younger generation than mine in terms of interest. To me, it's one of those things that people can buy, take to the park, and annoy all of us with their music. When headsets, earpods, all sorts of things are much more of a private and better listening experience.
Not my music. My music's great.
Yeah, that's part of the problem, Guy.
I think he just said you're part of the problem, Guy. I'm not sure. But that's
I'm
usually
usually
part of the problem. He's the whole problem, and we love him for it.
And as soon as I walk out the door, I'm the solution as well.
Once you walk out of the door, you're the solution for the people who are left on the other side of the door. Yeah.
They think that.
I thought this was interesting. Does anybody here have a pill?
No.
A Beats pill. Okay, so
I'm glad you clarified what kind of pill.
Yeah, because I knew what was going to happen.
I only use vintage equipment, Chuck. I want to let you know.
I looked at this, and as it puts Apple in the mobile speaker market, I'm not sure how important it is. You know, I've often wondered why they didn't bring out some kind of portable AirPod by that brand. I don't know if that's because the AirPods are. Excuse me, I said AirPods, didn't I? A portable HomePod. Sorry, yeah, that didn't mean to confuse it. And yet, that's a smart speaker, and the Beats pill is not supposed to be a smart speaker. So maybe that's the difference, that they want to keep the brand separation. But it always felt just a little odd to me, as invested in Apple and music as Apple is, that they didn't have some portable speaker option. Now they do. Webb, are you in them? Okay, let's do it this way. How many people own and regularly use a portable speaker?
I own. That's the first half of your question. So
okay.
I have one that I got from Bose. It was actually given to me as a gift that I sometimes take when I travel if I have enough room in my luggage to put it in. But it's just a battery powered tower. So I like it. It does what I need it to do. But I don't jam with it all the time. That being said, I do have HomePods that I do use. Both the one that it went vintage this week, the original one.
Yeah.
And also one of the newer ones. And then I have 2 HomePod minis that I have in this room that I use as speakers for my TV. So
visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, And get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.